Yo, what's going on, boys? We just got done with our week of Glacial Tarn running, and as normal from now on, I plan on just kind of recapping my build and answering any questions that you guys might have. The only thing I wanted to mention before we start today is the Discord that I created, I don't know, man, freaking months ago. I never really set it up or did much with it, but I've seen a few people ask me questions in just my own personal Discord that I created. So I'm gonna put a link in the description today. If you guys want to join, you're more than welcome to. There's nothing crazy going on, but maybe you can think of it like a safe haven for tanks, or if you just have any questions about anything PvE related, you can hit me up in there, and I will do my best to answer. Might be easier just to get quicker answers and just to cover everything if you guys wanted to have more in-depth questions. All right, so we'll just get right into the build video today. So in the very first room, I'm sure you guys saw me rock Hatchet. The only reason for Hatchet is I don't want to use Leaping Strike, and the only other thing that gets you down to the ground really quick off the beginning jump is that Feral Rush right there. And then I also just had Haste and Keen Speed. Haste on my Torrent and Keen Speed, so I would just be zooming, basically. Hit a mob, zoom to the named, and then we fight him there. This is the standard build right here. Butcher, of course. Vicious on shield. Alacrity, Blood Drinker, normal earring. Only reason I rock Blood Drinker is because those guys sometimes do a lot of damage to you because you're kind of face tanking 3 mobs. And I don't want the healer to heal me. I want him to put 1 Sacred down and then just blade the whole time, so I think maybe going 350 con, maybe doing a different build setup is possible, but I just chose to rock Blood Drinker. But I think that's it. The only reason I have an Aquamarine in here is because I used it for my final boss set. And if I'm 300 con Blood Drinker, what's a fucking ruby, right? Doesn't matter too much. The only thing that is different from the build setups you guys might see or do normally is I have skips, skip sets. And this is the only time you'd ever really rock this, right? I would prefer a piece of Frigid Dawn gear here, but I did not have one with refreshing, so I just used Azoth Crystal Helm. Elemental Aversion might do a little something for you on the mage attacks, and then maybe it works on that one mage in the hallway, and then it might work on some of the archer ranged attacks, but I can't confirm that. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, either way, it's still free value, right? Keen Speed on Bludgeon or on your Flail is really good here. And then for your shield, just always have Enchanted Ward. And then I went with Flame Shield Ward here. I'll show the Fire Staff last. Alacrity, of course. I chose to rock Blood Drinker just because it's literally free extra life stealing if I burn out or vortex on mobs. No reason not to have it. And then a Fortifying Toast Earring is super important. You'll see here my armor rating is 3316, right, on the physical. So I hit 1 mana pot and it goes up to 3951. So it's 600 plus armor rating gain. Literally free armor rating. No reason not to take it. I did choose to use Inferno this time. I don't think this is mandatory by any means, but I noticed in the past that I would randomly and occasionally lose threat on some of the mobs that I'd attacked with the way I was doing the strategy I was. And if Inferno scales with strength, right, I'm already rocking 233 strength. So it's just more life stealing, it's more threat generation. And when I go through mobs, I will be getting a lot more life stealing. So this isn't mandatory by any means, you know, but I was just fuck it, I'll run it. You could go 500 con here, but I don't really think it's necessary, and the life stealing's good. I think 350 con should be your minimum though, because anytime you have grit, you're going to be taking damage reduction based off of your 350 con attribute. So you're going to want to hit this for sure. And then if you're running past mobs, right, you can you have grit with this. You can do grit with your lights if you're stammed or something. You know, just free damage mitigation. So definitely be 350 all the time. I don't think there's anything else special. Keen Speed is really good on the Flail. Get it on the Flail if you can. if you, with Alacrity on Amulet, if you Vortex and then crit somebody, you're going to be haste capped for like 9 to 10 seconds. Really, really good. This is my troll build. There's nothing special here with Odo. Odo is just a flail that has con on it. That's literally it. There's no special tech with Odo. The only thing, maybe, is that you get Odo's defense, but this perk is fucking useless, pretty much. But hey, it's something. Anyways, I just wanted to use the flail just to bludgeon the group like this. That's really it. And it has con on it, so I thought it would work for me. I went with, well, we'll go over it, and I'll just go over it now. I went with Life Ring and this shield over Butcher. I think Butcher would be higher damage, but I sacrificed a little bit of damage in order to have Shield Rush and Enchanted Ward on my shield. These two perks are just going to give you a ton of value as far as like extra Fortify and extra damage mitigation. I think the way that the tank should play Troll is they should be very aggressive, like holding W. And again, right, like I would much rather have my healer be comfortable just hard DPSing, and I don't really think it's worth it for me to min-max damage on Troll like this. I don't think 0.5 second faster kill time is worth it in terms of raw DPS, because I can use both of these perks on my shield, basically. I would prefer Strike Shield Ward instead of Frozen Shield Ward, but I don't have one. So, is what it is. So for rest of gear, right, I ended up just using Life Ring with Refreshing Move. Pretty standard. And then the big thing for Troll is you're really going to want Strike Conditioning. So if you can get Strike Conditioning, that's going to be like your best friend. Fortified on Amulet is going to be massive here for your Shield Rush. Your Shield Rush Fortify will be extended by Fortified, and that is massive. I don't think you can have anything better than that. Slash damage, because you shouldn't really be heavy attacking, and then Despised, of course. So my normal resistances you'll see here, right? So like you can get up to like 46, 50% ice or something, depending on how you set up your gear. And then what you want to hit is like 25, 30 strike. So if you can hit 25 to 30 strike, and you're going to use 4 conditioning, this is basically going to put you at like, I basically am 46.2 ice and 45% strike almost this entire fight. So I could be like 5% more strike, depending on like how you want to min-max. And again, if I had Strike Shield Ward here instead of Frozen Shield Ward, my perks or my resistances would look a little bit better. But that's about it. For Troll, you want Strike as the tank. Make sure you have a lot of Strike. And I think that Strike Conditioning is incredibly good for this boss. Alright. If you guys have questions about my Troll setup, just, let me know. Skip number 2. This is literally exactly the same as my first skip. I just like to have, 2 gear swaps for it, because maybe I want to change it during the week, or I see something I don't like, But the only difference is I have human ward pots here. So, same exact build, but human ward pots on my bar, because you'll see later on when we do the second skip, right? I burn out past the frozen mobs where my group is fighting, and then you get to the human section, so you're going to want to hit a human ward pot. And then after I respawn, so if you saw right there, I normally just have my Magnify on Con, but I swap my Magnify to Strength. And then I can hit the best in slot DPS setup for Butcher. 350 Strength, 150 Dex is incredibly good with Butcher because you're going to increase your bleeds that you get from your Butcher build. And then 100 Con. I've tried min-maxing more, like going down to 50 Con, going down to 5 Con. I just don't think it's worth it, to be quite honest with you. Like, all you're doing is getting like raw dex, or you take a little bit of int damage, and the damage increase is so marginal, and I don't know how worth it is. So I decided to stay at this, right? Like, when you're 100 Con, you can pretty much left click the entire time and not think about a single thing, and that's kind of what you want to do as a tank. If I have to be worried about like blocking or like dodging attacks simply because I might take too much damage and die, then just go more con. It's much better for you to have high uptime on DPS rather than the damage numbers themselves. Once I respawn, we do the big like hallway run. So I was using Hatchet earlier in the week, and then I had Empowered on my amulet instead of Alacrity. When I kind of watched my VODs back, it didn't really make sense to me because every second the tank is not there, the group's not going to be doing like optimal DPS. So I basically decided that like musket traps and dodging and me getting to Sir Milosh, like the last name when we drop down the fastest, that's going to have more value than anything else I can do in my setup. So I probably got there 3 to 4 seconds faster than I used to. Maybe even faster than that. Just because I had traps. So super worth it. Oh, and to show off gear here too. Nothing crazy. Got shield rush here. Vicious. Keen awareness. And then you just have to rock like a stat split piece when you rock this weapon. And then you're chilling. After Sir Milosh, this build is literally the exact same as what you see above. I just had a Warhammer with Sundering Shock. And this actually drops from Tarn, which is kind of cool. No reason for Sundering clear out because you almost never clear out. Like, you know, mainly this build is exactly the same, right? So like, literally you just go up, I Shockwave, I do this, and then we fight. And then you really should just be on Sword and Shield the whole time. You can maybe knock him down at the end, but we were just killing him so fast that it just didn't even matter. There is some tech where, like, when you stam Sir Roth, this is the final name before the final boss, and he is starting to, like, get back up on his knee, you can knock him down like this with a clear out. And then he'll basically stagger backwards, and it's like free DPS for 3, 4, 5 more seconds. So it is good tech to use, but I just didn't find that it was actually worth it to do. The set isn't anything crazy, I'll just briefly go over it, but any skip sets you have where like you're not running past mobs, you know, just have Alacrity, wing leather shoes, throw a trap, 1 dodge, you're like haste cap for 6 seconds. 1 more dodge, and it's pretty much 10 seconds, which is really nice. It's really easy. I did have 2. Oh, and then when we get to Sir Loth, I would just swap my strength back to con like this. I did make 2 sets here, and I'll go over them both real quick. But I have a heavy set and then a more aggressive set. I'd prefer fortified here, but I don't have one with con. So, big thing you'll notice here is just like ice and slash protection and slash conditioning. So what you see when I go over my resistances, right, is I'm like 34.6 slash. This is actually too much slash. Oh, I did that for my medium set. That's why. That's kind of troll. So it should look like this if I was doing my optimal setup in heavy. So then I'm 29 slash, 44 ice. And then when my conditioning procs, which is very often on this boss, I will be at 50% or, you know, like 49.6% slash and 44 ice, which is really solid. Enchanted word on everything like normal. I just have Keen, Vicious, Hated. Flail is pretty much irrelevant. Since I have Refreshing Move on my Night Veil, I don't need anything special. Slash damage, of course, since you shouldn't be heavying. And then if we go to my medium set, so I do think heavy is fine, but when I used medium or just made a set for it, in my opinion, there's no reason to not be medium. The fight felt very safe to me on medium to the point where I would probably always run medium now, unless the mutation was tough. Maybe like, you know, I don't know, a Frenzied Week or something. Heavy's really good, but I felt very comfortable in medium. I don't think I died once There's only really one thing that you have to be aware of. And then, of course, I'd want more slash conditioning here, right? But I just don't have it. Then, of course, we have Tempered Disruption, Bish Shield, RM / Shield Ward. Same flail, same thing here. And then, so this is where I put another slash gem because I was already 42 ice. And my conditioning was not going to put me over cap. So I'd be 38 slash with 2 slash conditioning to put me at 48.7. And then I'd be 36 ice. And this is like the pretty standard Nature's Wrath setup. I did notice like significantly more damage with Nature's Wrath medium. The only thing that you need to be aware of as a tank is like at the very end of the boss fight, this is right after he spawns the weak points, the boss will start doing a lot of ice damage attacks. And this is where he starts doing almost twice the amount of damage to you as you're used to in the previous fight or the previous phasing. So it's very, very important. Like, if you're running with a good group, all you have to do is hit Defiance Stance. If you hit Defiance Stance at this phase when your group starts fighting again, you'll be able to hard ego all the attacks. And I didn't take damage at all once I started doing that. I didn't feel scared. I felt like I could just stay in there and be aggressive. So 2 sets here, right, for final boss. Again, rock heavy, unless you're trying to like fucking push the limits. And then if you want to do medium, you're going to want to do Nature's Wrath because this is just more damage. And then this is kind of the setup you're going to want. More slash conditioning if you can get it. And then just kind of an even ratio of slash and ice, in my opinion. Unfortunately, I don't think you can ever go less than 300 con on the final boss because there's just too many staggers. Like, every slash attack staggers you. Pretty much every attack the boss does will stagger you. And then, of course, there's all, like, ice crystals, other things in the dungeon that will stagger you in that fight. So, while I think it's, like, possible to go less con, I don't think that it's worth it. Unless we start seeing, like, you know, different things happening. Or we come up with a different strategy. I think right now it just makes the most sense to be 300 con for the tank. Alright, oh, wait. Skill trees, of course. I'll go over everything here. Normally I always take Intimidating Rush, but there's no point, basically, in this dungeon. The only time it would matter would be for, like, Sir Milosh, I think, but we had a crippling powder burn for that fight, so just no need. And other slows or roots, you know. Fire Staff tree. I ended up taking off Heat Up because this would keep me in combat longer than I wanted. There's the chance that, like, at different parts when you're trying to get out of combat to swap, Heat Up would fuck me up. So I ended up just taking it off. There's not really much to go over here other than, like, use the Fortifies, take the haste, you know. Fireball, Burnout, that's all you need. What else did we run? Musketry, just run traps, haste, double traps down here is all you really need. Warhammer is kind of irrelevant. You could honestly just run a Warhammer with Shockwave in this dungeon because I never use it. But yeah, just anything like this. I think this is my normal. I didn't even end up armor breakering. Hatchet tree. Pretty normal, I think. I'll go back to it real quick. The only thing that matters is, like, just take Death Defy and this one here. Free haste, no reason not to have it. Then a lot of the right side, you'll just get, like, a ton of stamina back, which is good, of course. And then probably the flail tree is what people want to see the most. I wish I had more perks for flail, man, but, like, I ended up not taking this early on, and then I noticed that this is, like, really good. It's really good. It kind of does, like, a little bit of a knockback. It deals damage, and it gives yourself Fortify. So failure to launch is massive. You don't need to take Human Shield. I've always been a Human Shield enjoyer for bosses. You know, I don't think it should be something that your group ever relies on, but on the off chance that somebody stays alive because of human shield, then it has value, right? Bludgeon, of course. So I would have liked to take this perk here, Flail Mary, just for cooldowns, you know? Or sorry, just if I stam myself, right? It's literally free stam. And then both Spiky Impairment and Oppressive Advantage I would have liked to take too. I kind of noticed Oppressive Advantage isn't very useful because of Vortex and Keen Speed. You're already haste capped, so the haste doesn't do a lot. But Spiky Impairment is like really good for bosses, right? It's just a little bit of extra weaken. But you got to take these two down here. Alrighty, that's it. If you guys got questions, feel free to let me know. I hope you like the VOD of our run, and let me know. Oh, and join the Discord if you guys got further questions, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you all. Love you. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. Later.